So let me show you the framework I use to understand the real native fast Spanish. So I call this transcript training, and it follows what I call the LEAR ladder, which is listen, understand, and repeat. And I broke up the understanding step into 2 parts just to make it a bit more insightful. So, but this is how it broadly looks like. The broad sort of idea is we listen to natives, we're going to try to understand what they're saying, and then we repeat. First step is to listen. Okay, so you play, for example, one sentence. In reality, what I do is I play the sentence of the content until I don't understand anything. You know, if you're watching native content, that'll probably be very early on. The ideal content here is obviously native content, real fast Spanish with an accurate transcript. Okay, and the reason why is because if you have an accurate transcript or subtitles, it'll be easier to match what they're saying with the text. Okay. And that's how you understand, okay? That's the sort of meat and potatoes here. I'm not telling you to watch just without subtitles and just try to guess. The trick is to find accurate subtitles and transcripts so that you can make the connection between what you hear and what is actually written. The red part is what you'll hear, and the transcripts will show you what's actually written. And so getting accurate subtitles and transcripts shows you that discrepancy, which is exactly what we're after. So once you've heard what they said and you've matched it to the actual words, now it's just understanding those words, okay? And so the way I like to do this is to go word for word on DeepL, which is a translator. And the idea here is the reason why I do this is to find the why, which is the reasoning, the logic, okay? It's because when you break down a sentence word for word, you can extrapolate more logic from that, okay? And then I like to understand the grammar by searching up the verbs. And I do this on a website called SpanishDict.com. And so this helps me learn some of the irregularities. And this is helpful because instead of memorizing a chart of irregularities, I rather just search them up and practice them as I'm going through content, because it matches exactly how much, it matches real native use exactly, right? It means that the verbs that you'll search up the most will be the most used verbs. And so what happens is you'll practice the verbs that are the most used in Spanish. And so you're wasting no amount of time on unnecessary verb conjugations. And then finally, I just repeat that, meaning I go back to before the sentence was said, and then I see if I can understand it now. And ideally, I turn off the subtitles to see if I can understand it. And I should be able to understand it because I just went through the entire step of understanding. And so that's that sort of sentence that we didn't understand before. Now we fully understand it. And that's how you understand native Spanish content, even if it's super hard. And by the way, if you're just getting started, I highly recommend joining the Speedy Spanish Hub. It's a free community I created with a bunch of free resources and guides to help you start learning Spanish with these methods. And it'll be the first link in the description.